Welcome back to the channel, and I'm on the boat, as you probably can see from the background, and I thought I'd do a little demonstration on how I set up for spurdog fishing. I have a competition tomorrow, and the competition is spurdog, rays and smooth hounds. So I'm going to do a rig up for the spurdogs. They have got some feisty old teeth on them, that's for sure, and they can certainly snap a line pretty simple. So I'm going to set myself up with a little wire bait trace I should say, and show you how I rig it all up. So let's get into it, and we'll make a rig up together. So first off, I'm using ASSO 70-pound main line for a running ledger. So that's going to be my main line for the running ledger. Then I've got a 100-pound line as well, and this one is the ultimate abrasion resistant 100-pound line. Just what I had in the box. That's what I'm going to use. I'm using one of those type of zip sliders. I normally use a Thermalink, one of them, but I'm going to be using fairly heavy weights, and the Thermalink is very great for doing a zip slider sort of setup. Slim line, it's great, it works a treat, but I found with the heavier leads, you're talking a pound and a half, something like that, it has been known to pop off the actual Thermalink. So I'm going for a captive, I don't know if you can see that set up there, where it's locked in and the leads disappear on me. A couple of stainless steel swivels, so I'm using the SS2s from Tonics Pro. They're a size 1 and they are 220 pounds rating, so more than enough what I need. And the biting trace, now I've been a little bit lazy on this, to be fair. I've brought myself one already made up, just been lazy. It's what's in the box. I can make them if I really want to, but I know these come with the Cox and Raw hooks as well, so they've been made up specially with the Cox and Raw hooks. So great, happy days. So there it is, wire trace, biting trace. So a simple setup. Let's get into it. So let's just check there's no abrasion on that. There's not. So let's get the running ledger set up. So tip of the nose, arm length. It's pretty much standard stuff for me. You can measure it if you really want to. I'm not going to bother. So stainless steel swivel. There we go. Nice and simple. And a quick tie up, and you can use whatever knot you like. Plenty of knots out there to use. Let's get a bit snug up, give it a clip down. First one made, there we go. Then goes the bead, green bead, just for visual aspects. You can use whatever bead you like. It's an 8mm bead. There we go. So swivel bead so far. The zip slider. Now, there's a question for you. Does it go that way down the line? Or does it go the other way down the line? I'm going to put it the fin side down. Like that. You can have it either way you like, depending on how much sort of hang off you want. And then it is just a matter of putting the other swivel on. the other end. Now I use stainless steel swivels. The Tronics Pro ones work for me. There's clearly other makes. Just clip the line off. So running ledger, there we go. Ooh. Swivel, bead for buffing, zip slider, and stainless steel swivel at the very end. Runs a treat. Now you could argue if you turned it the other way round, yes, you get a lesser hang off, but the other side of it is if it's laying in the tide like that, it's thicker that side, so you get more drag. Don't know. Something to think about, isn't it? Something to think about. You know, making less drag can make all the difference sometimes. So the basic running ledger, pretty standard stuff in the boating world. So let's do the next portion, which is £100 line connecting to the bite trace. Now you can do this a couple of ways if you like. You can connect direct straight to the swivel with the line. There we are, that swivel there. Or you could use a Termalink with your line and just literally clip on like that. So there we go, clipped on to the bite and trace. Now the beauty of having it clipped on like that is you can unclip pretty simple. So if you've got a fish, you've got it on the deck, unclip, get your kit away, and you're just left with a bite and trace for you to unhook with the fish. So there's, you know, it really gets a lot of stuff out of the way and makes it life a little bit easier. And that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to go that way. So let's just unclip £100 line. Where I've clipped it into the actual recess of the spool, it's damaged, so I'm just going to clip it. So £100 line going through one of those Termalinks is tight. I'm not going to deny it, it is tight. So a good way to do this is just give it a little bit of an angled, I don't know if you can see that, there we are, an angled cut, so that it makes it a lot easier to go in. So it's not a dead flat or squashed end. So by having it at chamfered, it makes it go in easier. There we go. It's there. It's in. So whatever knot you like to do, I'll literally do a few turns, back through the loop, and job done. And you can use as many turns as you like, depending on what sort of poundage your line. With this sort of line, £100 a line, you don't need a lot of turns. I'm just going to nip that up. I've not got my pulling up tool. So there we go, one end done. There we go. So this is completely up to you what length of trace you want. So there's one length. So that's about that long, and then you've got your bite trace on top. Now this all depends sometimes, I think, on what boat you've got, probably the freeboard, how high you want to get the rod up with the fish still in the water. If you've got someone on board, it's sometimes better to do the netting for you if you've got a longer trace. I've got someone on board tomorrow, so I'm going to go to that slightly longer. If I was on my own, I would probably make the trace a little bit shorter, because it just makes it easier where you got the rod up and you're going with the net down. If you've got too long of a trace, you just can't reach the fish on your own. So that's what I do. It's completely up to you what you do, but that's what I do. Also, another thing to consider is the strength of the tide. If you've got a strong old tide and it's quite turbulent, if you've got a longer trace, the longer it is, the more of an arc that can move around that trace potentially. So if you shorten it down, less of an arc. something else to consider. So I've got someone on board, as I said. So I'll normally go about that long again, just simple, but I'm going to go half again. That's about half. And clip it off. Turn my link on the other end. So that ends up with 2 termalinks at the end of your trace line. Bit of slobber just to ease it up. Give it a pull. Just going to clip the ends off. And there we go. So quite long. It's pretty much the width of my span. 2 terminal links on the each end. One clips onto the biting trace, I should say, like so, and the other one clips onto the running ledger. And that there is pretty much done. So let's go through that again. Stainless steel swivel, 70-pound ASSO line, running ledger, whatever you want to use, set up clip, bead for buffer, stainless steel swivel, Termilink, 100-pound line as a rubbing leader, if you like, or whatever you want to call it, and Termilink stainless steel biting trace, and it's an 8.0 hook as well. Now at the moment, I don't know if you can see that, the barb is still sticking out, so I'm going to crush that down, because the Spurdogs, they do bleed quite a bit, and it's just nice to get that hook out nice and easy. The fish gives you enough tension, and if you keep the tension on it, you will land the fish without the barb. And it's just a simple unhooking without the barb. You know, it's entirely up to you what you want to do, but that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, so that rig there is for the Spurdogs, but as I said, tomorrow's competition is also for rays and smoothhounds. The beauty of this rig is, if you don't want the wire trace and the big old hook, unclip and clip on another small trace with a different size hook for smoothhounds and rays. So nice and easy. It's pretty versatile if you want it to be. Let us know what you think. Let us know in the description what you think about that rig, whether you'd improve on it, or you think I'm totally wrong how I'm doing it. Just your opinion. I'm more than happy with that. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully see you next time. Tight lines, everyone.